What is up, guys? VO1JQB here, bringing you another video. The third video in the ham radio how-to series. This video we're going to be focusing on connectors, coax, and as the title says. So we have a few types of connectors and a few types of coax we're going to be looking at. First off, we have your radio connectors. This is broken up into BNCs, PL and SO 239 and 259, the N connector, and the SMA connector. We get into the audio connectors. We have 3.5 millimeter mono and stereo, and we have 6.35 mono and stereo connectors. And then we have DIN connectors, as they're called, basically mic connectors for your different sorts of microphones and stuff like that. Once we get into the coax, we have all 50 ohm coax that you're probably going to see in your ham career. There's a lot more than just this, but these are the types that I chose to put into this video. Mostly because they're the common ones. So let me haul out my notes here, and we'll hop right into it. Yes, I'm making notes for videos now. How weird. So we'll start off with our connectors over here for our coax connectors. We'll move all this over to the side. Right here we have a few different types. We have our BNC, we have our SMA right here, our N connectors, and our PL259 and SO239. The most common connector you're going to see for HF radios and on coax and stuff like that is going to be these. On the back of your radio, on the back of your radio, you're going to have these. This is an SO239 connector, also known as a female PL connector is what some people call it. This is a chassis mount, and they're found on the back of most radios. They're found on the back of my MYT VHF, my 10 meter, and my HF rig. They're on the back of antenna tuners, on the back of CBs, you name it. That's where this connector will be found. And what goes into that is what's called a PL259 or 259. This connector is, it's pretty straightforward. You got this here. This is male, and this is female. I wonder why. Piece it together. It's comprised of where your shield connects and where your core connects when we're talking coax. As you can see, this goes into here, and this barrel is what we call it, screws in over here. As you can see, it's ridged along the edge, and on the PL connectors, there's two little ridges that you can see right there. It's pretty straightforward. These are on the back of your coax, and you can get different connectors that turn into other connectors at the back. We'll get into those later. But yeah, so these go into these. These are on the back of radios. These are on the back of coax. Again, you got the SO239 connector here and the PL259 connector here. So we're done with those now. Drag them out to the side. Next connector we got is the BNC. Most commonly found on the back of scanners. All three of my scanners have it. Lots of antennas have this connection if they're for a portable. Lots of portables have this connection as well. We got the BNC male and the BNC female right here. Again, it's easy to tell why they're male and female. It's pretty common sense. As you can see, the BNC male has holes here. They start here and they end in this little ball. And the female connectors have little juts out on the side. So you can take the male, slide it over this using the two holes that are here, and tighten it on. That's how they connect. It's not a screw-on. It's simply tightening them up and locking them on, which is why I like this connector, especially for when you got scanners and stuff you want to switch out antennas for, or your mobile rig. Say if you want to change the connector on that really easy, it's as simple as one turn to the 1/4 turn to the side, pop it off, pop another one on. It's as simple as that. I love this connector. That's the BNC. Next connector after that is let's just drag that over there. Next connector after that is the SMA, which is what's on a lot of portables these days. And this one here is pretty nice because it shows the inverted side of SMAs as well. Normally, this is going to be your SMA male and female. Like with my radio here, the jack going into the radio, new TYT radio, by the way, you guys will see that in a future video. The connector going into the radio is the SMA female right here, and the SMA male is what's on the antenna. Here's the thing though with these is they look very, very similar to the connectors that's on the back of your TV box and stuff, but they're a lot smaller. SMA is only, what's this? It's only about a half a centimeter wide, if I had, or maybe 3/4 centimeter wide, whereas your connectors that are going to be going, I think they're F connectors, going into the back of like TV boxes and stuff like that, are going to be definitely bigger. So that's that. Again, male and female, easy to tell why. And this is going to be on relatively small cable, and like I said, on portable radios mostly, and you know, your mag mount antennas and stuff. Next connector we got is definitely one of the more common ones. It's the N connector. It's like a BNC and a PL combined. Reason being is because you got that BNC style pin, which goes into the female here, and you got the barrel, or the PL barrel looking thing that screws in. So this is all there is for that. It's N connector. This is used for, I know a lot of repeaters have them on the back of them. It's great for your VHF comms and stuff like that, so I've heard. I don't use any N connectors, but I have a lot of adapters and stuff for N connectors, just in case I do run into them. My station, I use SMA, I don't use N, I use BNC, and I use PL. Those are the main connectors that I use. If we move on from those, let's just make this all nice and If we make this all nice and pretty, we move on. We have your 3.5 mil and 6.35 mil jacks. These are going to be found, like, they're headphone jacks basically. You got the mono for 3.5 and the stereo for 3.5. You can tell the obvious difference, not the color. Don't worry about the color. But these little rings here, and a lot of people wonder what these are for. Well, they isolate this part from this part from this part. So basically, they're just isolation rings, essentially. So you got 3 parts to this cable, and on this one you only have 2. You're going to find these connectors, these mono connectors, they're great for you know, Morse code keys. I have one on mine. It's pretty simple. And then these stereo keys you'll see for paddles and such. Also on your headphone adapters and such. That's where you'll find these. And the bigger size to that, you'll see on guitars and stuff. Yes, I want to keep using photos to open this, please. Hello. Thank you. And this is the 6.35 jack, mono and stereo, respectively. Again, it's just the 2 different and 3 different pieces here. And these connectors, you'll find these, you probably recognize them from guitars, electric guitars, and that sort of setup. A lot of radios, like my Kenwood TS450 here, has a jack for these. Morse code keys use these going in the back of old radios. Even new radios these days use these big old 6.35 jacks for some reason. So those are the 2 sizes that you'll commonly see when it comes to audio jacks and headphones jacks and such. Again, stereo used a lot for Morse code key paddles, and the mono is for regular keys. Next, we have the DIN connectors. I have a few different varieties here, male and female. These are going to be your mic connectors. This is the 8-pin DIN male, and this is the 8-pin female. They're not known as DIN connectors usually. It's mostly just mic connectors. The only reason I know they're DIN connectors is from work. So you got this here, and it goes into this here, male and female. Again, it's pretty easy to tell why. They screw in. Most mic connectors on HF radios and stuff and CBs are going to be this. For example, if I unscrew this one here on my HF, it's an 8-pin. It's this one here, pretty much. And this one is on the inside, receiving it. And that's the same for my That's the same for my Ranger, my 10-meter rig, except it's a 4-pin, which I have an example of here. That's a 4-pin, and this is a female. It just got the 4 pins. These are found a lot on CBs and stuff. And then I have a 6-pin here. I don't see many 6-pins around, to be quite honest with you. But that's a 6-pin anyway. Another connector that you'll find is it's in my mobile now. It's for radios with DTMF pads and stuff. It looks just like the phone jack connectors that go into the wall. Let me see if I can find a photo here. Let's search DTMF microphone. Let's try that. See if we get the connector that comes up. Hello, images please. Yeah, so here we go. On this one here, you can see it's not very clear, but on this Yaesu mic, you can see it. It looks like your phone jack connector at home, pretty much. Yeah, you can see that right there. And again, some mics with DTMF are still going to have your DIN connectors on them. That's also quite common, but nowadays it's mostly going to be these phone jack looking connectors. So that's that. Next thing we have is Coax, and I'll put a little wiki link. Actually, I'll just bring up the Wikipedia page now. Don't mind my creepypasta page. Oh, that's my Outlook. Wikipedia. And we'll go search for Coax. And you can see here, this is the Coax page. That's RG59. That's a cross-section view of Coax there. It's a pretty good looking cross-section, actually. If we scroll down, we get stuff that's too advanced, and then we get this Coax list here. There's a lot of it, too. And you can continue to scroll down. We got Heliax here, RG405, RG142, RG6. The list goes on of Coax you can have. Heliax, this is going to be mostly found on antenna towers and stuff. As you can see, it's it's pretty much just copper, and then styrofoam, and then copper, and a lot of it. Let's see here. There's some more of it again there. 1 5/8 inch flex line. Again, Coax, and all it is, it's just a outer layer, insulator, and then an inner layer. That's mostly what all Coax really is. Again, we can scroll up to, where is it? There it is. This RG59, 75 ohm, words, makeup. You got your outer layer, you got your shield, you got your inner insulation, and then you got your core. That's all there is to Coax. And we can scroll down here. For ham radio, you're going to be using 50 ohm Coax most of the time. So the types we got that are commonly used in ham radio, I have them here written down. The most common ones you're going to use RG8U, which is up here, and RG8X. Those are common. You're going to use RG58, this one here. Again, you can see the specs here, outside diameter in inches. That's what you want to look at. And obviously the ohms of it as well. So you got RG8U, RG8X, which is just a bigger version of RG8U. RG58, which is not to be confused with RG59. RG58 is 50 ohms, RG59 is 75 ohms. This is used for amateur radio, RG58, and RG59 is mostly television. Next type you're going to use a lot is RG213 and 214 for HF and antennas and such. Both very similar thickness, 0.4 of an inch, and both 50 ohm. Next type that you may or may not use is Hotel 155. low loss HF. That's what it is. It's 0.2 of an inch. It's nice and thin. And next you got your LMR stuff. You know, LMR 100, LMR 400, LMR 500, etc., etc., etc. The number stands, I believe, for how thick it is. Like LMR 100 is 0.1 of an inch. It's really, really thin stuff. Again, 50 ohms. All these are 50 ohms here. You got your EMR 240, for example, is 0.240. And this is all low loss cable for up high into gigahertz, as you can see. Excuse me. LMR 240 is a replacement for RG8X as well. You can use. It's more low loss. And that's really all the cable you're going to be using in the ham world. But there's a nice little chart. I'm going to leave this section up. Then I'll scroll down a bit. And you can take screenshots of this if you want. And that's it. So you can also go to wikipedia.org/wiki/coaxial cable. And that's where you'll find this chart and some more handy information on coax. So let's close out of this. And let me show you some cable, what it looks like. RG8U is thick. Again, you got your inner core and your outer shield here, and your 2 layers of insulation. You also have RG8X, which is a thin version of that. As you can see, it's a lot thinner going into a PL connector there. You have next RG58, which I don't have a photo of. I have 5.9 though. That'll work. RG59 and RG58 are the exact same thing, and again, this is copied right off Wiki's page. The only difference between 5.8 and 5.9, like I said, is your ohms impedance. 213 and 214. There's a picture of 213. All coax looks the same except for diameter, and some have copper, some have silver-coated copper insulation. But that's 213. I don't have a photo of 214. We have H155, relatively thin, looks like 5.8, and that's got a copper coating over the inner insulation as well. We also have LMR 400, which is here. You can see the difference between this here going over a piece of coax, and how about over here? Yeah, that'll work. LMR 400 versus RG8X, for example. You can see how it goes over the coax is quite different, but keep in mind the layer heat shrink here. And then you got, let's say, LMR 100, which, as you can tell from this, it's very, very thin stuff. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's nice and thin, silver coated or aluminum inside there. Be quiet. And copper inside. So that's cable. In this episode, we covered different types of coax you're going to see. These are the main types. Again, you got RG8U, RG8X, RG58, RG213, RG214, H1155. You may see some H500, LMR 100, and all the way up to like LMR 1200. You're going to find a lot of that stuff. We also covered mic connectors. We covered audio connectors, and we covered coax connectors. Any questions, feel free to leave a question in the comments below. Leave a like, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the